Welcome, Carl. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for your time and congratulations on passing your PMP. I'm glad that you have passed PMP exam. Let's start with brief introduction. Where are you from and what do you do?
Sure. Well, first off, thank you for the congratulations. Appreciate that and happy to be here. My name's Carl. I work for a software company. I'm a remote employee. I work from home. I live in the Kansas City, Missouri metro. I've been with my current company for about 6 years, and I've been doing the delivery manager role, which is kind of an evolved role from Scrum Master. I've been doing that ever since I joined here. I'm now a group delivery manager, which just means I'm a manager of other delivery managers now as well.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Great. I think it's you posted a role on LinkedIn and I said, okay, can I apply for that?
And I said, you're overqualified, Amar.
All right. Why did you choose for PMP exam?
Sure. Yeah. My department was evolving. So we wanted to become an R&D PMO,
Okay.
and we wanted to do that with getting some people certified. And we wanted to be able to enable the rest of our organization to use the benefits we gained in the experiences from the PMP exam. So it was part leveling us up as well as having the ability to train other delivery managers to be more program managers in the future.
All right, great. Now you have gone through the entire process. You have attended the boot camp training, and then you spend a lot of time in studying, preparation. What do you think? How helpful it is considering your practical work? Or if somebody wants to do PMP, what would you suggest? How important or practical or valuable PMP certification is?
Yeah, well, I will say you get taken a lot more seriously when you have those letters behind your name. Just it's a fact. Especially if you're trying to break into project or program management, it helps to have a serious certification behind you. And I've read that a lot of people say one of the most important things for PMI is just those contact hours, the amount of time you spent in project management and the amount of time you spend doing the training. Those are critical. So I think it's pretty important. It's certainly you can do the role without it, but it's a lot easier to get an interview and to be able to draw on these experiences and the things you learn in the interview as well as practical application once you're actually doing the job.
Yes, absolutely. If somebody wants to, transition to project management or similar roles, this course is really, really important and very, productive in terms of learning as well. A lot of new tools and techniques, framework, processes, methodologies, and you can learn project management in a structured manner. So yes, this is very important. Okay,
Yes.
talk about your PMP exam preparation journey. When did you start, and what about course, and then how did you prepare?
Yeah. So, it was many months ago that we took your course, Amar. I'm sure you might be quite used to this with students. It's very easy to take the course and then to put off the exam when you have a full year to do it.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it. So we took your course back in June. A lot of great notes, a lot of great learnings that happened there. Um, I did not schedule my exam until February, and so I just took it last week. So it was 26 days from when I scheduled it until I took the exam. As far as kind of my journey went, I would say when I scheduled the exam is when I took it very seriously to begin my studying. It was I'm a father of two daughters, so I'm very busy with my regular day job as well as trying to study for this exam. So I also should have just followed your plan from the beginning of March, but I took my own path. So a lot of what I did with, being with two kids, one of them that requires me to lay down with her while I go to sleep is I would just watch YouTube while I was waiting for her to fall asleep. So I would watch some of your mock exam videos that you
Yeah.
recorded. And then I also ended up paying for PMI study hall. Now I do want to say there is no reason to pay money for things.
Yeah.
You prepped us properly and you gave us the tools to be successful.
Yeah.
For me, with the time crunch that I had, I just wanted that instant feedback after an exam was finished. So because my time was so precious, so that's what I ended up doing. On as far as my mock exam percentages went, I was in the 70s. So
Please.
yeah, I had a 70, a 73, and a 75%. So nothing 80 or over. I think I could have spent a lot more time to try to get 80% or over, but I have a PMI ACP.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew that that percentage was likely good enough for me to pass the exam.
Yeah. Absolutely. If you get 70% or more, it's good enough, right? You could easily pass the exam.
For
All
sure.
right. What about exam? Was it difficult, easy, or how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I went in a center this time. When I did the PMI ACP, I did it at home,
Okay.
and enough time had passed that I had forgotten how the process worked. And so I did find it challenging, I will admit. At least it felt that way. When you're taking the exam, you just feel crazy. You're because there's usually two questions immediately that I'm like, those aren't it. And
Yeah.
then two that I'm like, that's between these two. I hope I get it right. So the exam experience, I would say, like, if Pearson VUE were listening, like there was one thing that kind of bothered me, and that was there are hotkeys in order to highlight and strike through.
Yeah.
The text seems a little old. Like if I accidentally struck through instead of highlighted, it was hard to kind of fix that error quickly.
Yeah.
Also on a keyboard, if you're trying to go fast and click really quick, doing Alt W and Alt J it's very difficult when you're holding a mouse, and my hand was like inverted half the time, and it started to hurt because
Yeah.
it's many hours of taking that exam. But what I would do when I was reading a question is much like you do in the workshops that you do in the evenings,
Yeah.
where after the question was read, you would go and you'd highlight specific words.
Yeah.
It's kept that practice going. So if a question started off and said, in a hybrid environment, I'm going to highlight hybrid. And
Yeah.
then I keep reading the question. I try to find those like key phrases that I knew would help me in my answer. And then I'd also strike through those two that I said weren't it. Um, I would say my time management was not great. I spent a lot of time on the long questions, probably over the I think you say like 76 seconds or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I spent over that on some of them because I just had to keep rereading it, making really sure. Then there were some I would question, answer, go. Like it was super quick. So I like to think that that balanced that out. There was another thing. So you and I were exchanging messages on WhatsApp,
Yeah.
and you said, "Hey, the first 60 questions spent 80 minutes, the next 75 and then 75." Well, one oversight on my part was I kind of thought like the exam people would just like tell me my times for some reason. I thought like after 80 minutes, they'd be like, okay, time for your break. But you don't go for your break until those 60 questions are up. So I
Yeah.
really wish I would have written down, I think 155 minutes. I think that's
Yeah.
total minus the first 80. If I had written that down, I would have been a little bit better on time management. Just that 155, because it's easy to remember the
Yeah.
last section, 75 minutes.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening to me is I figured that out when I was like pretty far along on the first section. And I was like, oh, whoops, like I need to figure that out math really quick because I'm bad at math. So I was like doing the math on my little cheat sheet. And then I figured out like, oh, I need to hustle up. Like I'm gonna not have enough time for the rest. And so luckily I figured that in time. I will say because of that mistake, I was marking some questions for review on the second section and I ran out of time. So I got through those 60 questions, but I did not have enough time to review the ones that I marked. So I just had to click and hope they went my direction.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely, you're right. And today I was talking to a student. I specifically told him, like, he asked me, would we have a clock on the screen? I said, yes, you wouldn't have a clock, but it would run backward. It would start from 2:30 and then 2:29, 2:28. So when you reach 150, make sure you complete first 60 questions and
yes,
then 75 and then 70. So absolutely right. You're right. It happens. So
absolutely.
time management is an important issue. So for
Yeah.
example, in last 2 weeks, around 15, 16 students passed exam, but two were struggling with because of time. So time management is very important. Okay. Did you see any calculation-based question in your exam?
I think I saw a couple. They weren't anything I had to actually do math on. I saw like an SPI CPI question, and luckily I reviewed that again before I went to the exam to remember anything below one is bad. So if I could at least remember that, and I used what I did in my head is I said SPI and I pretended that I was a one.
Yeah.
So that if it was below that, it was bad. I think I saw something kind of like budget related that I wasn't as confident on, but I was just happy there was only one of those. So nothing too bad as far as calculation goes.
All right. And what was the distribution of question relevant to agile and waterfall?
Sure, yeah. Having taken the ACP, I was pretty confident in agile, and I was not as confident in waterfall. And I would say I did not see a lot of predictive. There
Yeah.
was good amount of hybrid and a good amount of agile and just a little bit of the predictive.
All right. Yes, absolutely. And did you see any questions where like cross match or drag and drop?
Yes, saw some drag and drops. Actually more than I anticipated, to be honest. I
Yeah.
feel like I saw like 3 to 4, and I was only expecting two. I will say another little plug is I read a lot about as far as exam prep goes. I went to Reddit, the PMP Reddit, and I read a lot of people's just like experiences as well on how they studied. And that's where I really learned about the PMBOK mindset,
Yeah.
which I noticed you gave some really great notes
Yeah.
as far as the different things you should think about going into it.
Yeah.
And that's probably the most critical thing. It's just mindset more than anything. It's not about memorization as much as just having the right mindset. So yeah, sorry, your original question. Yeah, about 4 drag and drops.
Yeah, absolutely. Understanding the mindset is really, really important. If you understand that, then half of the question could be handled if you understand that mindset. Like as a project manager, how you should approach different things. You should be servant leader. You should
Mhm.
be positive. You should be helping people. You should not be criticizing. You should not be blaming. You should take ownership and responsibility. So I have written around 100 such, concepts. So I have shared 25 or 30 with you. Now I have expanded and now it's a
Good.
100. That is really helpful. If one goes through that list, I'm pretty sure exam would be really easy. All right. So did you read any book?
I had Rita's book. I kind of thumbed through that earlier on in my preparations, but I found most valuable doing mock exams.
Mock exams.
And then what I would do when I missed certain concepts or questions, I did a couple things. One thing is I would look at PMI's Agile Practice Guide,
Yeah.
Process Control Group's Process Guide, and then just the PM Box 7.
Yeah.
And sometimes if that wasn't quick enough for me, PMI just came out with a new chat GPT tool,
Yeah.
Infinity.
Yeah.
I would just ask the questions to that, and then it would give me an answer. And then OpenAI also has ChatGPT 4 if you subscribe to it.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this, but I was doing a search PMI, and they actually have a test exam prep
Yeah.
ChatGPT as well, and it will give you a question and then you can answer it. So I didn't do too much of that. I only did a few questions, but I found that like, oh, this is great. There's more like expanded resources coming out. So
Yeah. PMI is, developing that. It's just in the initial stages right now. It has some errors or problems, but hopefully with the passage of time, they would improve it.
yes, yeah,
That,
I
that
did
that's
notice some
good. That
errors.
would be really helpful. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like you can actually interact with the tool, like ask why A is wrong, why B is correct, why C.
yeah, definitely. It was pretty cool, pretty nifty. I just happened upon a message or an email or something that was talking about it, and I was like, oh, I'll check that out. And then I wonder if this could expedite some of these like Command F or Control F on these PDFs so I could quickly find an answer from it. It worked out pretty nicely. I was pretty impressed by it.
Absolutely. Based on your experience, what would you advise? Like how much time is enough to prepare for the exam in terms of hours or days or based on your experience?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a great question because I see a lot of people asking it, and they're very fixated on the response. Like they need to know exactly how much time was spent so that they spend that exact amount of time. And I would just advise against that. Like, don't get too stressed out because everyone is different and
Yeah.
everyone understands things differently. So, I didn't spend probably enough time as I should have. I will say that. It would just really be like half hour, an hour here and there. You have great advice. I think I saw somewhere, which was don't let too much time go by without studying.
Yeah.
So I tried to really do that. I tried to make sure that I didn't let 2 days pass where I hadn't like watched a video or opened a book or just reviewed something. So I think in total I probably spent about like 8 to 10 hours in that 26-day time frame, which I know is a little bit low, but since I had that ACP, I kind of knew what to expect and I had good test scores. Um, but by no means would I advise anyone to spend only that amount of time. It's just, it's based on how much knowledge you think you have. And if you truly understand that mindset, that's what's most important.
Absolutely. I have a couple of students, they passed exam in just 2 days. Right after the course, they scheduled the exam. So, for example, Friday was the last day of the course. On Sunday, they took the exam and they passed.
I
So,
love that.
one of
That's
the
great.
reasons was their practical experience. They have been working in project management for last 15 to 20 years. So that really helped. And
Yeah.
some student passed exam in 5 days, 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, 25. And some are there, like I was talking to one of my students, like, you had your exam on 1st of March. What happened? You didn't tell me anything. He said, I actually postponed. I'm not feeling confident. I'll do that again. So he has been postponing. He has done for three, four times. He's not feeling confident enough. So you're absolutely right. It varies from person to person. If you have been working in project management, or if you have that mindset, then exam would be easier. Maybe you can do it 5 to 10 days, or maybe 20 hours of studies is enough, or 30 hours of studies enough. But ideally, I would suggest like you should not extend it beyond 30 days. That the certification doesn't, demand so much time. It's simple and it's easy. If you spend 30 hours, 2 to 3 hours on daily basis, it's easier and you can easily pass the exam. All right. What about Mark? Did you tell him you passed exam?
Oh yeah, Matt.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, he knew. Just
And
for context, my friend Matt, I heard through the grapevines that he had scheduled his exam, and no one in my class I think that I can think of has finished it yet. And so Matt and I are pretty competitive, and I was like, I'm gonna schedule it before Matt. Pass it before him. So that's exactly what I did. And then another thing that I didn't know about going into it is like Pearson View or PMI, they say like, hey, you have up to 24 hours or 48 hours before the exam to reschedule.
yeah,
But the fine print is that's difficult to tell is that you pay $70 to
yeah,
reschedule.
yeah,
So I actually went to consider rescheduling and I saw that price tag and I'm like, well, I guess I'm just taking this exam whether I'm ready or not. So that really like got my studying and get my head down on that going. So
all right. And how was your experience in the center?
it was not bad. I had read a little bit about it. So I kind of knew what to expect. It is it's very serious. I'll say that. Like you're getting kind of patted down, not by another person, but you're having to show that there's nothing on your body that you could use to like cheat on the test. Um, I thought it all ran pretty smoothly. 10 minutes doesn't seem like a lot for a break, but it ended up being plenty of time, enough for me to run to the restroom, enough for me to walk some laps around the building and do some deep breathing just to kind of calm my nerves down. And everyone there was super professional and you could
Yeah,
tell they knew what to do. I will say, like walking out, I didn't know there was two people in the center, so I was like, which one's going to tell me if I
yeah,
passed or not? So, in case you're wondering if you're going to a center, at least I'll tell you my experience. The person that kind of proctors
yeah,
does not tell you. They just, when you walk out to them at the end, they just take care of like closing out your
yeah,
exam. And then I'm like, how'd I do it? And she's like, well, it's printed out over on the counter. So then I turn around and the lady at the front desk immediately hands me a piece of paper face down. And then you flip it over and that's where the magical words are written that you passed the exam. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of my students, what happened to him, like they ask you to remove anything, like if you're wearing a watch, they ask you to remove it. So he was like, throughout the exam, I was continuously looking at my wrist, like there is no watch. So yes, it happened. No electronic device, nothing. I think just, you can take your ID. That's it.
Mhm.
They don't even allow water or nothing. I mean, no paper, no calculator. They provide you with everything. They provide you with pen or, paper or whatever uh,
Yep,
you need to write. So everything would be provided by the center.
definitely.
All right, I think we have discussed most of the things. These would be really helpful to students who are preparing for the exam. Carl, thank you so much for your time, and I'm really happy on your success. We will be in touch, and I'm also looking forward to the like other people who were in the course. They all passed the exam. I hope they are preparing. I had a session with Mark, I guess, a couple of months ago, and I explained. I think you were there or
Oh
not?
yeah, yeah, we were both there.
Yeah. So I hope they are preparing and they would also pass the exam. So yes, I had an amazing session with you guys. Like it was one of the best sessions I have been teaching for last 10 years. So I personally really enjoyed the interaction, engagement. It was fun. So I really, uh, I I remember that those 4 days, that I think 5 days, I guess. Five
Yeah,
days we spent together. So that was really good.
agreed. Yeah, we had a great time, Amar. It was
Yeah.
really fun learning from you and interacting with you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially I didn't forget that moment when you all put my pictures in the background. Oh, you did that again.
I still have it. It sits in here in my Zoom backgrounds.
Oh my God, you did that again, same.
There he is. There's the guy.
Yeah. So you were asking me about my beard. So
Mhm.
yes, there's a slight change after coming to the US, but hopefully I would grow it again. So then I'll match you.
There we go. Let me know
Yeah.
when it's back.
Carl, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Take good care of yourself. We'll be in touch. Good
Thank
night.
you, Amar. Good luck with MIT.
Yeah, thank you. Take
All
care.
right.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.